All right, y'all. We got your favorite politician. She going viral. Check this out.
I do want people to know that just because someone has committed a crime, it doesn't make them a criminal. That is completely different. Being a criminal is more so about your mindset. Committing a crime can come for a lot of different reasons.
And that right there, folks, that is a current sitting member of the United States Congress, which means she has the ability to push the pen in order to push policy. She can institute laws into real life. So the next time your local Walmart is getting ransacked, right? Target is getting cleared out. And now they got to put your deodorant behind cages. Just remember that the people who caused that right there, the folks who are going in there and stealing, aren't criminals. You know, they change their mindset around. They're just people who are borrowing things permanently out of stores and maybe out of your house and out of your car. Duh. It's a mindset thing.
That's what y'all think of that.
I mean, she's absolutely right. You know, I think that just because someone steals, it doesn't make them a thief. It just means they theft one time. I don't think that, you know, if someone, you should call them a rape. That's it was an instance of, doesn't make them a rape long term, right? It's just a mindset in that one day where they had the mindset of a rapist. What is she talking about? What is she talking about? That is such an absolutely insane. It's so upsetting because this is what frustrates me, as the guy on the video said. It's this normalization, and I talk about this all the time. It's a normalization of a lower morals and a mindset shift within especially younger people, right? Like I saw this I guess in California they don't really prosecute crimes for shoplifting unless it's over like $950 of theft. So what you're doing is basically telling people, hey, you know, steal steal up to $949 worth of stuff and it's totally fine. And then what does that do? That normalizes the idea of stealing in especially younger and younger people's minds. So I just hate everything that she just said. It's like in no other world would you say like, oh yeah, he's not an abuser. He just beat the crap out of his wife that one time. It's fine. We're just moving on. No. Like, it's not a mindset. It's an action. To be a criminal is to commit a crime. It's a label that we place on people that have committed crimes. That's what a
Any
criminal
thoughts,
is.
Ricky?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just like the typical liberal mindset is to, you know, I saw, I was watching a program one day. It was, I don't know why I watched it. It was on Peacock. It was featuring Al Sharpton and Ben Crump. And
He's the
Ben
worst.
Crump says, and I don't know how this guy's a lawyer, man.
Right.
He says, he says, you know, I have a way that we can reduce crime overnight. And people ask me, Attorney Crump, what you mean by that? He said, you change the definition, you redefine crime, right? And it's idiocy, but I think that that's what it is. It's kind of like no matter how you look at it or which way they say it, it's just about like almost just normalizing crime. Because I think Jasmine Crockett also said if you coming across the border illegally is not illegal. So it's just like, yeah, you
Oh, that
know.
joint.
So it's like it's just normalizing crime. What's the uh is it Ayanna Presley,
Yeah, the
the
bald
bald
headed
head
joint.
woman? Yeah. So yeah, so prime example. She's a perfect example of that. Where I remember during the election, I was watching a story on the nightly news where it was a Walgreens closing down, And so the people in the community are upset. And I understand because you have older people. This is where they get their medications, their ones and twos and stuff. And so they're out there protesting. And then she, at a certain point, a couple days later, goes out and joins them. And then she goes to Congress and says that this is a racial and economic disparity, that this is some sort of discrimination, as if Walgreens is saying, hey, we want to close down because we don't want to get money from black people. And it's like the problem with these pro-blacks and these so-called leaders is that rather than you want to play the race card and do the victimhood thing, rather than explaining to the community, hey, if we don't stop allowing this to happen in our communities, more businesses will leave. And this is how your community becomes a desert where you don't have access to things. But what they do is just play the victim card. And even some of them, I think it was her who almost said, like, when people steal from these stores, it's kind of like reparations almost.
She
And
said that.
yeah, it's crazy because yeah, I like to a certain degree, yeah, basically it's like, well, when these people are stealing just because they're poor, as if, you know, poor people only ability to survive is to steal. I mean, we don't. It's not
Exactly.
like we live in some third world country where where you can't get a job or you can't. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. But those Walgreens and Rite Aids, they're out of business. I went into a Rite Aid not too long ago, and it's because of COVID and all the looting and stealing, and then like you said, normalization of
Everything.
stealing and shoplifting. Where I went into a Rite Aid. The last time I went into a Rite Aid, literally everything
Mhm.
outside of cases of water was behind glass. Everything in the entire store. I couldn't believe it. And so that's what people don't understand. They quick to play the race card and make everything about race. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like they refuse to allow the black community to turn a mirror on itself, look at ourselves, hold ourselves accountable. It's always just this idea that everything is racist, blame the white man, and let's normalize these things that, if you go back to the 40s and the 50s and 60s, we weren't
I
doing.
like
This was
that.
not normal for us. So
Exactly. Exactly. That's why I say I'm MAGA, but you can put a silent B in there
yeah,
because I believe in make Black America great again. I really think we have come to a place where we are unrecognizable. Yeah, like we had a better community. We had higher morals. We had actual,
mhm,
standards for ourselves and our children and our families.
yep,
Like we used to beat each other's kids to make sure that they stayed in line. Anyone in my family could beat me if you was 10 years older or above.
hmm,
You had every right. My babysitter used to beat us. You understand? And I'm not calling for any type of abuse. It wasn't abuse, but it was, look, you have the right to make sure my kid is keeping it together because this is important for us as an entire community. Now we got people saying, "Oh well, don't put hands on my kids. You better not." Did you see that? There was a mother, a family who was suing a man because her son broke into his house and he shot the boy dead, and so the mother is suing the homeowner, saying that he took her son's life unfairly.
He broke
He
in and
he
got
he
shot,
broke
and
into this man's
they're
home,
trying to sue.
and she is
On
suing
what
them
grounds?
instead of taking accountability. You know what? If I had taught my son better, if I had raised my son better, he wouldn't have turned to a life of crime. He wouldn't have normalized the idea of breaking into someone's home, right? Or that father. Yeah. Yep. And yeah. Oh, exactly. That's the question. On what
Grand Theft
grounds? But
Auto.
from it's absolutely insane. Oh, then there's that a couple months ago there was a father whose son, uh it's not called shoplifting. What is it called? He like stole a car, and thank you, Grand Theft Auto, teenage boy steals a car. The police, high speed chase, pull them over. Kid gets out,
It's
goes
crazy.
to pull his gun on the officer. Officer shoots him dead. So the father
he ran him over with his
goes and
car.
shoots a
Actually,
random
he just drove his
officer
car into the
and
officer.
kills
He
that
was
random
retired and he was
officer.
just volunteering. Yeah, I remember that story. Insane.
Isn't that insane? And I'm like, you mean to tell me that you raised an actual criminal You raise someone who has absolutely no respect, not only for his own life, let's be honest, but then for the people who he's stealing from, nor any respect for law enforcement. And because you failed as a father, you think now your job is to retaliate against some random person and take away someone else's father and husband. And that makes you a man. It's like, I'm telling you, and I love being black. I'm telling you, if God took me out and said, how you want to come back? I'm coming back black every single time. I love being black. I truly love being black. But there is something that I think we have to do in the black community, which is just, those of us that are aware of the problem need to be the ones that
Yeah.
reclaim our blackness, if you will. Like, I'm like, I really feel like the black, conservative party is the true black America. And whatever they got going on over there, we can call them whatever. I don't want to say N words, but you can call them something else. But I think of it, look at the white community. They make a distinction
Mhm.
between overall whiteness and white trash. And there's a reason they make that distinction. They will tell you, no, that's a hillbilly. No, that's a redneck. No, that's white trash. They'll make that distinction because they're not afraid to acknowledge that there's class differences in that, ethnic group. I think for us, I look at these things and I'm just like, it's like the question of who raised you? Because who raised you to think that this is the way to go, to think that crime is what you should do? There was no instance where I'm around thinking I want to do crime. I just want to crime like calls my name. And then if I were to be caught doing something bad, I was terrified because I had a father that cared, that would have shown up and, ruined my day in front of my friends just to embarrass me for acting crazy. And there's something needs to be done. But as long as we have this pushback, like you said, a demand to lack accountability, a demand to fight against accountability, then we can't make any positive changes because we can't get it. It's like the same, like I said, if I can't go beat your kid, your kid is not only acting out, but he knows he can act crazy with me because you're not going to tell him to respect me. So now we got this cycle where he's doing whatever he wants because you're defending him instead of letting everyone else check him. And then we have it just spirals into, it spirals more and more because you're just not a criminal. You're not a criminal. No
Nothing.
matter how bad you are, no matter what you do, we can't call you what you are.
Nothing is. It seems like we've just completely gone in reverse. Nothing is wrong, well, if you're black and you committed a crime was because it's almost like the white liberal particular idea is, well, black people commit crime because they just inherently commit crimes. It's the system that causes them to commit crime, as if there's no, I try to tell young guys all the time, your outcome is, and I had to do this myself because I made a lot of bad decisions growing up and even as a young adult. But then I had to realize, and I had that mindset, but if what I did was I just took an audit of myself and I said, well, I can't find a single instance where the white man was holding me back. If anything, all the white people in my life, like teachers and coaches and people who gave me chances, you know, my whole thing is find any instance where I was being held back by white people. It was every instance where I was held back, it was me. I was doing the wrong thing. I made bad decisions. I suffered consequences. And so
Yeah.
once I realized that, it's like, choices and decisions is what's going to determine your outcome. But I think that we've adopted this mentality where it's like we're victims of this system. And so even when we do wrong, it's not really our fault. It's because of the system. And I mean, and it's on every level. I remember, yo, let me just say this, the 2024 election, it really was like, it was revelation for real, for I think for a lot of people. One of the things I saw, for example, was, so it was established that Kamala was struggling, particularly with black men. So BET and DL Hughley did this Black Man Summit, right? And it was really just tell everybody that they should vote for Kamala, pretty much. But they had this guy, he was going out doing man on the street, and the topic was abortion. And the fact that I saw black men saying things like, well, yeah, I need abortion. Well, I'm for her, and because abortion is important because I have a daughter. And so this is the difference between liberal and conservative. Where my mind goes is, why don't you, as a father, raise your daughter in a way that she does not end up in that situation? Why are we saying, well, we need abortion? A man is saying, well, an abortion is important because I have a daughter. Why aren't you raising your daughter in a way that she doesn't end up in those kind of situations? I mean, anything can happen, but at the end of the day, it's like that's my goal. My daughter is 21, and you know I feel like I've done a good job, and I would hope that and up to this point, she hasn't ended up in any bad situation, but it's because she had a father who was there every single day, teaching her, training her, and showing her how to carry herself as a woman, along with all the women in my family. So, I think that that's where we've gone. Is like we have an excuse for everything. Nothing is our fault. Accountability,
Yeah.
those like us who try to hold the mirror up and say, "Hey, let's hold ourselves accountable." Immediately we get met with all this anger and all this
Yeah.
vitriol, and it's just in a name calling. And so I think the good thing is you have people like us who now are not affected by that. I think a lot of people stay silent because of the attacks that you would get. I mean, I feel like there was few and far between, but now I see more and more and more of us kind of coming out and saying, "Hey, I'm a conservative," or not afraid to say I support Trump, or I vote Republican, because I know when I was growing up, that was like the worst thing that you could do. You could be a drug dealer or a
Exactly.
murderer. That's cool, but a Republican, oh no.
Hmm.